Monday night.
8 for 9.
Who went off? Zach Lavine. We lit the beam. Let's go.
Come on, dog. Let's go.
Oh my gosh, Zach Lavine. Bounce back game.
Man, listen. The only reason that I feel like that he did really good tonight, I accidentally took his under 22 and a half points. So shout out to Zach Lavine for proving me wrong. So
You took his under here, 22 in the first half.
I know, and then I was cooked by that. I was like, all right, well, if I lose my money thanks to Lavine, we lit the beam anyway.
That is hilarious.
That's how I needed to do that. So
yeah, just bet the under on every player,
and then they go off
throughout the rest of the season, please.
I will. If anything to make the Kings make the playoffs, I will deliberately do that.
You'll lose money for the Kings' success.
And there'll be a GoFundMe account ready to go, so that way it's infinite amount of money.
Welcome back to the Kang Gang Pod. This is episode number 35. Wow!
Marvin Bagley episode. Thank God the Kings did not play like the Marvin Bagley team tonight, because my God,
we were in for a treat. Let's just talk about the man of the hour.
Just dive right in. Let's do it.
He had a major bounce back game. 13 points against the Warriors, and then tonight he was looking extremely confident. The flow of the offense was just so much better than the previous game, because we had that All-Star break and we're like, what happened? Like they didn't like fix anything, and then they even looked worse, But then they had 2 days off. They had Sunday and Saturday off after that Friday game, and then they got 2 practices in, which was huge. And then you were hearing all over online that these practices, they were cleaning up the offense, and we saw it. Obviously, it was against a team that's only won 14 games.
I know,
but still, like these are the type of games that you need to get your stuff right, and that's what happened.
Yeah, I mean the Hornets, they came out of the All-Star break looking very competitive. I mean, we saw them beat the Los Angeles Lakers. And we saw them competably play against the Denver Nuggets too. So coming into this game, I was a little bit nervous coming in, especially because we've lost 3 out of the last 10 games to them. So we were 3-7 in the last 10 matchups against them too. So I was very nervous for that.
3-7 to Charlotte's crazy.
It's insane.
That's crazy.
And another stat too is that we haven't won a home game against Charlotte since 2021.
Oh my!
So
I think I was at
we were at that game too.
we were at the game together.
Yeah, and shout out to Jiho. We all had matching Tyrese Halliburton jerseys too.
So. That's insane. It was that time.
The Emile photo. Shout out to Emile too. He took the photo. That was crazy.
That was during the Halliburton era. But it's crazy. I mean, they've only won 14 games. We completely shut LaMelo down. The game before this, they played Portland. I think they lost by around 40 points too. So they've had back-to-back 40-point losses. So that's why you were expecting them to come out and play a little bit better. But no, the Kings handled all ends of the game except for that third quarter.
Yeah, I was like, yo, do not do this again.
No, but let's just break down the game. But before we get started, one more shout out to Zach Lavine, because that man had 42 points. 16 for 19. He had 8 for 9 from the 3-point land, and only made 3 free throws. Normally, when a guy has 42 points, like Shea, like 20 of those points are from the free throw line. So
and then he went 7 for 7 in that fourth quarter, in the most important quarter. I mean, the rampage quarter.
That rampage was
unbelievable.
What RT was saying, it was that excitement was basically like what was most comparable was when Doug McDermott went off. So in that 18-point stretch he had, that was in 5 minutes, but he hit 4 threes in 2 minutes. So it was just
that's the more impressive one.
It was insane. It was so much fun. It was electric. I wish we were at that game to feel what it was like inside of the Golden One Center tonight, but that was a crazy experience to watch. So shouts out to Zach Lavine, but let's get right into it.
Let's do it.
So the Kings, in the first half, you could just tell instantly that the offense was just looking way better than in that previous game against the Warriors. A thing that I noticed a lot was that we were playing through Sabonis. So, like, basically every single possession Sabonis was touching the ball. Our movement was looking great. It wasn't like a stagnant offense compared to that Warriors game.
To the Friday game, yeah.
Yeah, so what did you see?
I think I agree. I mean, I feel like there was a lot more cuts that were happening, especially today, too. I mean, you saw everybody cut. Keegan was cutting. DeRozan was able to get to a spot. And I want to give a shout out to DeMar DeRozan because I saw a stat that he was 40% from deep in the last 20 games. So, yeah, shout out to Jack, the Kings fan. In the last 20 games.
That's
yeah,
crazy.
And so he's all like we talked about earlier in the podcast. Like he has evolved his game to another level at year 16, and so I just feels like the time was perfect. I felt like everybody knew where they needed to be in terms of the offense. The offense needed to know, all right, this is this set play. You need to be in the corner. Keegan needs to be on the other side of the wing. They all figured that out pretty quickly. So I was very, very happy to see that everybody knew exactly what the offense set was going to be and how they were going to run it. And so Domas was playing outstanding tonight, even though he didn't really show that in the stats, really.
In the scoring department.
Yeah. In the scoring department, you really don't see that as much. It was definitely like a lower side, but...
Yeah, he only finished with 7 points tonight, which
7
is
points,
very unlike him.
But, you know, he had like 8 rebounds and I think 7 assists too. 10 rebounds. There you go. Let's go.
Yeah, so you know he got his double digits in at least one stat category.
The most important one.
But when he is like the hub of the offense, like the way everyone's moving, like the spray threes, you know, that we had tonight.
Yeah.
We were shooting at a high clip tonight. We had, I believe, 12 threes in the first half. So
that's incredible.
Just when you're moving the ball, when Sabonis gets the ball in the middle, and when he does his dribble handoffs and everything, it just opened up a lot of different options for us tonight, and that was huge. And we had like a pretty solid lead in the first quarter, and then it just trickled into the second quarter. It just kept going up and up and up from there.
I think another thing that also I noticed, especially in that first half, was we played our best defense the entire year. I think we were very locked in. Like you said earlier, I think we did a really good job of not letting LaMelo Ball get into a rhythm early. And we also contested a lot of the shots, too. We were grabbing rebounds, a lot of one and done. They didn't really get a lot of second chance points tonight either. So we did a really good job of cleaning up the glass today, too. And we did a really good job on all sides. So, I mean, it was a very, very, like, perfect first half.
Yeah, I think that first half was excellent. The only thing was the turnovers.
Well, we only had 8 total in that first half,
still,
which is not.
We were like averaging around 10, like before, things started going south. We were averaging around 10 to 12 a game. So 8 in the first half is like, oof. But that was the only thing. But besides that, we were getting so many assists. We had 17 assists on 24 made shots in the first half. So that was great to see.
Yeah, because that's fantastic.
And like I don't know what we finished with, how many assists, but in the Warriors game, we had 26 assists for the entire game, and we almost, we were close to that in the first half.
So we finished the game with 30 assists.
Exactly. See, when the ball's moving better, great things happen. We ended up going up 20 to Charlotte.
And another thing too was it was interesting because a lot of the stats that you saw, and we'll cover the rest of the stats for the rest of the game, but just looking at these now, I'm like, wow, how did we pull off that win with just blowing them out like that?
It's so crazy.
I was impressed.
Yeah, we'll break it down.
I was impressed. I was like, dang, that's crazy.
Yeah, if you look at the box score and you don't look at what Zach Lavine did, and you look at everyone else, you're like, man, everyone shot poorly. Like starting 5, besides Zach, everyone shot poorly. So you're like, how did we win this game? It was shocking that it ended the way it did, but that third quarter, we started off extremely cold, and we were turning over the ball like crazy.
Yeah, and then we had 8 turnovers right in that whole quarter.
In that quarter,
yeah.
So we tied our first half turnovers in the third quarter. So that was not good. Things just were not. Everything we did right in the first half, we did the opposite. We did the opposite to start the third quarter, and then Charlotte, they were just being extremely aggressive on defense. And when teams are aggressive on us, we kind of
and then the physicality too.
Yes.
They were. I think that Katie Christensen made a very good point on the broadcast tonight. Coming out of the half, I felt like Charlotte was the more physical team, especially in that third quarter, and I was watching. I was like, oh boy, here we go again. If we lose this was going to be a very different tone that we were going to set for tonight.
Oh my God, yeah.
I'm glad that I didn't have a song. I had a song prepared in case we lost, But I'm glad that we don't have to use that for now.
Yeah, save it for when things get bad in March.
Yeah. I don't know if it would be bad in March. I mean, that's another
Are you
topic.
sure?
I think,
Look at the schedule.
I mean, the schedule is not favorable, but you know what? If there's one team that can pull it off and just be underdogs, I think that Doug Christie just finds a way. So
I love that.
Listen, I got to be an optimist because we're only 2 games out of 6th spot. So you gotta take the optimism for what it is.
No, it's crazy because when you look at the standings, like the things could switch. I mean, with all the other games that happened today. I mean, the teams that we needed to lose, like Phoenix, they're slipping right now. They're 27-30, so that's helping, and they're on the 11 side and the 12 seed, obviously with Victor Wembanyama going out. So like we're not really too worried about San Antonio as of right now. But Phoenix, they could get hot at any moment. But right now they're on a dry spell, and right now hopefully we get the win on Wednesday.
We're in the flat ground middle right now. We're in the middle of the flat ground. So
but
we're trying
we could somehow like find a way to win like half the games in March. Keep ourselves afloat because that schedule is daunting.
I rather would play 2 playing games at that point rather than just be like have 2 chances. If we lose the first playing game, it's not like a go home situation. It's more of a you have 2 chances, and if you miss out on the first one, you still have a second chance.
I would do anything for that. Yeah. But the Kings are not the only team with a very tough March. It's also the Los Angeles Lakers. So it's basically all of the the Western Conference teams on our side, the Pacific Division. I think all those teams from the East are making their trips to California. So, yeah, you saw what LeBron put on his Instagram story. He even knows. He knows the schedule is not favorable right now. So, yeah, we're in that same boat. But another thing that just was so important to the third quarter, I believe, is when Keon Ellis goes out at the end of the second quarter. We don't have him in the second half. So in that third quarter, no Keon Ellis.
Right.
You saw he is such a difference maker. And when he's not on the court, you could clearly see what we're lacking and what he provides. And when we don't have that, that's what I think. We were up 20, and then Charlotte cuts it to 9. It was crazy. That's when we were all like, uh-oh. I mean, obviously, like when you see who Charlotte has on the floor, you're like, we're not going to lose to this team. But you got to give it up to them. Like, they were putting up a huge fight.
I mean, we've struggled with them in the past. I mean, LaMelo's had his number with us, and same with Miles Bridges in the past. So it's like...
I'm just glad P.J. Washington's not there anymore.
Yeah, thank God that P.J. Washington's not there anymore.
Because if P.J. on Charlotte would have dropped 40 on us again.
And thank God that Malik Monk's on our team, too. So that's all we got to say.
Yeah, but a huge bright spot of the third quarter, when things were getting bad, Doug Christie puts in Trey Lyles, who got his first,
the first minutes of
the game for him. And he comes in late in the third. He hits 2 big threes. He's picking up full court. And then, he hits 2 threes in a row. And then Zach Lavine gets that dunk at the end of the quarter.
Like the layup, yeah.
Yeah, which brings us back up to 16. So we went on a little bit of a run when Trey Lyles came in, and that was huge for us because if that run didn't happen,
it would have been
who knows if that Lavine stretch would have even happened.
Right.
All momentum went back to Sacramento side, and then that's when it transitions into that 18-point flurry.
7 for 7 from the field. I mean, the shots that he was making jaw dropped me. I mean, the biggest one that was the most impressive, I think, was the last one. Where he was on the wing and he had 2 defenders almost like they were trying to blitz him. And then he decides, I'm just going to shoot it over both of your faces and then just make it. Like dude, like how does that even happen? That is insane heat check.
It was like Steph Curry. It was Steph Curry, I
felt like it was Klay Thompson, that felt like more like Klay, because I feel like Zach Lavine and Klay are almost kind of identical in terms of how they shoot and how they can catch and kind of dribble, pull up threes. It was a lot more dribble, pull up threes than just like catch and shoot.
Yeah, exactly. But either way, however you want to compare it to, something that we will never experience is what it's like to be in that type of flow state where anything you shoot it's going to go in. And we got to see it, and it was incredible. Like that 5-minute stretch. I was telling you this before we recorded. I wish that it wasn't such a blowout, because if that was a closer game, we would have got to see, you know, a potential career high for Zach Lavine.
Right.
And yeah, we pulled him with like 6.5 minutes left in the game. But selfishly, it would have been cool to see him, you know, go for the 51 to tie his career high or beat it. But I mean, this is what we expected to happen. Like when you see a 14 win team come into Sacramento, this is what you expect. Like you expect to blow them out, but sometimes you never know. Sometimes you never know. And I'm just glad that it ended the way it did.
We got it done. We got it done.
It was crazy. Man, yeah. We started the fourth quarter on a 14-0 run. Zach obviously was the main reason because of that. And then, yeah, after that, you know, you throw in the surrender as the team that's winning, and you let all the bench come in to fill in the rest of the minutes. But yeah, I want to talk about Markelle Fultz for a little bit because he
underrated game from him tonight.
Oh my god,
underrated.
I am just so glad that he's on our team. It's so crazy to me that he's just been sitting at home for this whole season, and no team has reached out to him. It's crazy to me, and I'm so glad that was the case because now he's with us, and I feel like he's actually gonna have like a solid role for us going forward.
I think so too.
Because he was part of Malik came out with like 4 minutes in the first quarter, and then Keon came in. But then the second rotation of guys, he was a part of that. So he came in early in the like 7 minutes into the first quarter, and then he was the first guy off the bench in the second half.
Right.
Which was because since Keon was out, Markelle came in. So that was great to see.
Yeah, he hit a 3 too in that first quarter. Yeah. And it was just, and then I would say the most underrated part of his game was the 3 steals tonight.
Yeah.
Very underrated. I mean, this is a guy that is a lengthy point guard. It's like Devin Carter, but like a mature Devin Carter, and nothing against Devin Carter at all, but I think that Markelle fits the vibe of what this team needs now.
You know what our vibe is?
Say it.
Some really good players that are like a little past their prime.
Oh my god. I had to just get that out of my system. I can't believe that he said that.
I'm sorry. It's just,
no.
But I love it. I love it.
I mean, it is what it is at this point of the season. Like,
they're still great players. That's what I'm saying.
They're so good.
We try to get them at their peak, but then we just got them a little bit after, which is fine. It's just totally fine.
Look, the Yankees do that all the time in baseball, so it's like,
a very common thing.
It's common. And you know what?
History repeats itself with Sacramento, but
sometimes.
I mean, obviously we were down bad after that Warriors game. I think everyone was.
God.
But I think what was so important was if you listen to the 9-minute press conference that Doug had with the media following the Warriors game, what he was saying, like, I think that is what, what he spoke to the media, the actions that followed is what's so important, because he was not happy. He was pissed, and he let everyone know. And the reason why we didn't get to watch the press conference or him address the media after the game is because he was in the locker room, like, talking to his guys for a very, very, very long time, and his media time got pushed till way later. So that's why when we finished recording on Friday, that's when it was released. Right. And I was like, dude, Doug let him know. And then in those 2 practices, like, they were probably just normally, like, I don't think they would practice, but with what happened with that Warriors game, they needed it. And obviously, I mean, it worked because how they played tonight, they looked like a much different team. And now I feel like we have a little bit more of like an identity. We're kind of figuring out like what we're trying to do. I think everyone knows how important this stretch is, because I think you don't want the season to be a waste. You have so many good players, and these guys, they want to compete. So that's the main takeaway.
Make playoffs.
Let's just get there.
Let's just get there. Let's just get to the playoffs. Let's play a little spoiler. That's it.
No, and it was so great to see. Like, you saw Sabonis after the game holding Taigi. He was, it just looked like the vibes were obviously in a 40-point blowout. It's hard not to be happy. But like, you saw Lavine, DeRozan, Malik, Sabonis all on the bench. They were just laughing and having a good time together. And that was like the first time you've gotten to see some happiness with the guys on the floor, because every other game has been like super close or we're losing. So having a game like this is something that you need to propel your team forward.
Right.
I think it just helps the vibe of the team, because what we need, because like I was looking back to that Beam Team era, and we were having a good time. We were having so much fun. And then like today, Lavine is getting interviewed by Deuce and Mo, and DeRozan runs up to him and he was like, "That's what you do when you shoot the ball." Like, it just seemed like everyone was so happy.
They've been playing together for a while too, so it's like you can tell that like camaraderie between DeRozan and Lavine is there. And right now, I feel like all the other players are trying to just pick that energy up. I think Malik does a good job of that, and I think that everybody else, once they get their turn, Sabonis will be like a leader, that he'll bring out that same energy. So you kind of hope for like this insane streak that's going to happen, especially with our schedule in March. It is not going to be easy, but a lot of our games are at home though, which is a very good.
Can you pull up March's schedule?
A lot of our games are at home, which is actually pretty good, because the only time that we go on the road is against pretty bad teams in the East.
Okay.
And so, which is, I think it's a benefit for us. The only time, so I'll pull up the schedule right now.
How long is the homestand?
So our homestand, our biggest homestand. So we go on the road for 3 games, including the one in Utah. So
Utah's on the road.
Yeah, Utah
was here.
Yeah,
Okay.
Utah's on the road. So it's a 4.
That's fine. That's a win.
That's a win for sure.
Chalk it up as a win right now.
Yeah, chalk it up, hopefully. But we do have a 4-game road trip, and then we have the game.
Wait, so who are you playing on the road? So we play
the Rockets on the road, the Mavericks on the road, and the Nuggets on the road.
Oh god.
Yeah, which is kind of, the Mavericks though could be interesting, because
that is very interesting, because no AD.
Yeah, no AD, and we potentially own the tiebreaker over the Rockets and the Mavericks. So that's huge. So those are huge games. We've been playing
great against Houston. We're already 2-0 against them this season,
and you can clinch. We've already clinched the tiebreaker on both teams, but just to secure that extra win,
just to put the nail in the coffin a little bit more,
a little sweep.
I would love that.
A little sweep. And then the Nuggets, we do play against them on the road. That's the last one. I mean, that's going to be a tough game. And then it's kind of a back and forth. We are staying in the West Coast for a little bit. So we play the Spurs at home. That's De'Aaron Fox's return game.
Biggest game of the year.
And then we go on the road against the Clippers. And
Clippers are kind of sliding right now.
They're sliding a little bit. Kawhi is injured. Norman Powell is injured. I don't know how long that will last, for how long that is. So we'll see. Then we have a back-to-back against New York. We'll see how they look.
Oh, wait, back-to-back?
Yeah,
sorry. Yeah. I thought you meant like back-to-back games. Like we played New York twice.
No.
I was like, since when do we play New York 3 times?
So back-to-back at home. Then we go on the road, and then we play the Warriors at the Bay Area. Then we go to Phoenix for a back-to-back there. And then we come back for the Grizzlies, the Cavs, the Bulls, the Bucks, the Celtics, the Thunder, and the Trailblazers.
That's going to be such a hard homestand.
As a 7-game homestand. So
I'm praying and praying and praying that we do not do what we did earlier this season and lose 6 in a row at home. That would be detrimental.
And then after that, once we get into the end of March, going into April, we go on the road we play against the Magic on the road, and then the Pacers on the road, and then Wizards, Hornets, Cavs, and Pistons, before closing it out with a 3-game stint at home versus the Nuggets.
Why is March so long?
Nuggets, Clippers, and Suns. Yeah, it's a long stretch. Dude. It's probably the longest month of the year.
No, it feels like
it's 31 days.
Too. It feels like it. Yeah,
it's insane.
It's going to be so tough. And I feel like if you look back to previous seasons, we pretty much play the same teams at the end each year. Like we always have like the Bucks, Celtics, and Thunder always at the end of the season. It's always like one of the Western Conference teams at the end. It's either like Warriors at the end of the season or Suns. So it's the schedules don't change that often. And I feel like what happened last season, obviously like Malik got hurt, but Malik did get hurt with like 8 or 9 games left in the season. And then we had all those tough games, and then we like lost. I think we went like 2-6. We did not end the season strong.
That last season was so gross.
So that's why I'm like I'm just getting nervous this time of year, because it's such an important time in the season, and their schedule is always very, very difficult to end.
Adam Silver just hates us.
I don't know. I think it's just like a Pacific Division thing because the Lakers go through it too. We'd have to look at the other teams in the division who they're playing. But also, I heard. Actually, no, that's probably wrong because the Warriors, I heard, have the second easiest schedule.
Yeah, the Warriors. The Warriors. They probably have an easier schedule than us, and they
said they have the second easiest remaining schedule.
Yeah, so let's look at theirs.
So we probably have the 29th. We probably have the 29th easiest. So.
Yeah, no, that's pretty accurate.
No. Actually, it is accurate. We have the second hardest remaining schedule.
Yeah,
that's what I saw.
No, you're good.
So it's crazy, dude.
Yeah, it's nuts.
We just have to pray. We just have to pray.
Sheesh.
But yeah, let's talk about the stats from the game.
Let's do it.
So Lavine, again, we got to repeat it. 42 points, 8 for 9 from the 3-point land, 16 for 19 for the game. Monk, 13 points, 10 assists. Sabonis not cracking double digits in scoring with 7 points, but he did have 10 rebounds and 7 assists.
Beautiful.
Keegan got double digits with 10 points, but only 5 rebounds, but he got 2 steals. DeMar DeRozan, 18 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists. If you look at Monk and DeRozan, if you look at their field goals, I didn't write it down, but I think DeRozan shot 3 for 13, and I think Monk was around.
I'm gonna fact check you right now.
I think Monk was around. Monk, I don't know what his percentage was, but DeRozan I think was 3 for 13 or 3 for 14.
I'm gonna fact check you right now.
But he got a lot of free throws. I think he went 7 for 7.
8 for 8.
I'm close. I'm close.
Hey, you're there. You're on the money.
But the bench did. I like we've been saying, like the bench. One thing I want to say. I've been watching a lot of Indiana during League Pass hours, and I love how they utilize their bench. They have T.J. McConnell, they have Obi Toppin, Thomas Bryant, a couple others.
Does Nembhard starts for them?
I think
right?
He starts,
yeah.
But they let their bench unit run for 6-7 minutes. They let them run for a long time. We don't really do that yet, but with Valanciunas, Fultz, LaRavia, Lyles. And then you throw in one of the starters in. I feel like that grouping could get a good amount of run because we need, obviously, a successful team is not just your 5. It goes down the line. But if Valanciunas gets a little bit more time, Fultz gets a little bit more run, I don't know. I think we have a lot of pieces on the bench that could definitely help out this team.
I think another team that actually tonight, because I was watching League Pass before this game too, I was watching very closely the Thunder Timberwolves game, and the Timberwolves made a comeback by having their bench play the entire fourth quarter. There was no Anthony Edwards in that game. Yeah, this is new information. So they didn't let Anthony Edwards come in until the 2-minute mark of overtime. And then
wait, what?
Yes,
that's
insane. I swear.
I gotta watch highlights after
it's
this.
insane. And I'm not gonna spoil what happens at the end, but it was. If you watch the Thunder Timberwolves game,
I saw the screenshot of the score. They were up 25.
They were up 17
with 3 minutes left. Up 17.
Up 17. So that's
and then crazy.
Shout out to the Kings though. They were not the first team that came back. We came back against them too, against the Timberwolves, and that was the Fox. Crazy.
That's the Fox off the rim.
Buddy Hield shooting the lights out.
That's so crazy. I feel like Memphis did that to us too in the fourth quarter of this season when we played Memphis,
and that was in Memphis, right?
Yeah. They let Taylor Jenkins let Memphis's bench when Jake LaRavia was on the team. They were cooking us, and then none of the starters came in until the very, very end. But it was basically the bench that killed. So the bench is so important, and I think
so valuable.
We have guys on our team that could be very, very helpful for longer stretches is all I'm hoping for. Because Valanciunas, 8 rebounds, Fultz, 5 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, and 3 steals. LaRavia, 5 assists from LaRavia.
Dude, what
a lot of
game.
Those were little shovel passes to Lavine, but he played pretty good. He hasn't scored in a while, LaRavia.
He's a playmaker though, so he'll figure it out.
Yeah, and he just does what he does. He's kind of like a Christian Brown. You kind of just throw him out there and he just does what he does, But yeah, he kind of clogs the lanes very well. He had a great defense. He got a nice steal, and then the 5 assists is crazy.
Yeah, it's insane.
And then Trey Lyles, he was like a kind of a savior in that third quarter with those 2 3s. So he finished with 8 points. But yeah, LaMelo only had 13 points, 3 for 13. So we shut down their best player. We basically did everything we needed to do. just we got to clean up the turnovers. I think that's just going to come with time. Once we figure out how to gel together. A lot of those turnovers were just really sloppy. They weren't like
it was like
there's two in like 5 seconds.
Yeah, and they were in the back, and they were in the backcourt too. There was two that were in the backcourt. I'm like, what are y'all doing in the third quarter? I was like, damn, like what are y'all doing?
I was like,
it was like LA Fitness, you know what I mean? So that's what it was.
That's what it looked like. But yeah, I feel like the biggest thing is we just got to clean up, the turnovers. But if we could just, obviously Zach's not going to go 8 for 9 from the 3-point land every game, but if he's just confident shooting the ball, that's going to be huge.
That's going to be huge, man. That's
what we've been asking. That's all we asked for. Obviously, I think everyone was a little hard on Zach because 13 points, like that's rare. That's
a rarity.
It's not
the De'Aaron Fox numbers.
That's a rarity.
It's not.
But
it's not.
I have a stat for you.
All right, drop the stat.
Zach Lavine is the first player in NBA history to have multiple career games recording 40+ points on 100% true shooting. Unbelievable. He's done it twice.
He's good. Done it twice. So good, man. So good.
100% true shooting.
I mean, it's insane. Shout out to Jack the Kings fan for that stat. That was freaking crazy. I think
he was 103%.
103, yeah.
How is it even possible? I don't know. We need a statistician.
Yeah, we might have to bring in Jack, the Kings fan, one time and just pick his brain.
Yeah, so he can break down what that truly means. But yeah, I don't even, if I'm being honest, I don't even know exactly what true shooting percentage is. But if you could get over 100%, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we'll have to call in a statistician.
We'll Z or something like that.
We need someone to come on here to like break that. That would be fun.
That would be a good little podcast
or the local
episode.
Guy, the local guy.
Somebody help us out.
Okay, RT. So on Wednesday we play Utah Jazz on the road. We've had success playing Utah. I think we beat them twice already.
We've beat them so many times in the last couple of years.
We just beat them a lot. We beat
on them.
What do you think? Is there anything to like worry about in this game, or is there anything like?
I will say the one thing I think that's going to be important. I think a player to watch out for. There's two. I would say
I know one of them.
Yeah, Isaiah Collier is going to be one that I think you really want to watch out for because he, over the last couple of games, he's really hit his stride just being a playmaker. I feel like he's really turned it up in terms of scoring, in terms of playmaking. And then my other one is Keontae George.
Yeah, he could go off at any moment.
The guards, I think, are going to be the biggest thing, too, especially because we don't know how long Keon's going to be out for.
I know. We're hoping it's something.
And you have to. That's going to be how is Markelle Fultz going to step up? What guards on the team are going to really step up to really slow down Isaiah Collier and Keontae George? I'm not too worried about their front court. I don't think their front court's that really scary to me.
John Collins does play very well.
He does.
So yeah, I think John Collins will have a solid game. But there's this one guy on the bench. I don't know his first name, but I know his last name. Sensabaugh.
Oh yeah, he's gonna be a problem.
I think he's gonna
be a problem.
I think Wednesday night he will have his audition for King's Bryce. I think Bryce Sensabaugh will have his audition for King's Killer on the Utah Jazz.
Oh, you think so?
I think Sensabaugh. Oh, hopefully he has a donut.
I'm gonna say Isaiah Collier is the one. So
Sensabaugh. I mean, Utah just has some guys where you're like.
I mean, Isaiah Collier has 6 assists as a rookie, which is pretty impressive.
That's pretty solid. But I'm telling you, it's always the unsung heroes that come out of the woodworks in games like these. You don't want this to be a trap game. You just want this game handle your business in Utah, and then pray on the road against
something like that. Yeah,
but yeah. So is the next game Houston?
The next game would be Houston on the road.
If we could go 3-0 against them.
If we pull off that sweep, my God.
Have we played them on the road yet this season?
No. This is our first game on the road.
So we only played them 3 times?
Yep.
Wow. So we beat them twice at home this season, and we only play them once.
I think the only team that we only play because it's interesting.
So is it the way it works is the teams in our division we play 4 times?
4 times. And
everyone else in the West 3 times?
Not exactly.
2 for
not exactly. It's like either 3 or 4 times.
So it's just random.
So yeah, it's random. So
I think this year Denver's 3.
Yeah, because when we played the Pelicans. We played the Spurs 4 times this year.
Okay, so it just kind of flip-flop.
It's random.
Okay.
It's random.
So Houston's 3. That's good. If we, yeah. So we already have the tiebreaker, which is good. If I mean, Houston's pretty high up there. Dallas is the more important one. So if we could take care of business and beat them, they're still a good team. They're still a good team.
We'll see if AD plays because
I don't think he'll be ready by then.
if he plays, I want Sabonis to get his lick back.
Yeah,
this year.
he should
get his lick back.
Dude, it's going to be a very, 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 hopefully exciting end to the season. Hopefully we're not in shambles and sad.
Nope.
But I just hope we could prove everyone wrong, prove ourselves wrong, because that March schedule is insane. Basically, every team is well over 500, except for, I think, Chicago.
Yeah, Chicago's the only one, I think.
We play Washington,
yeah,
too.
we play Washington,
Okay, so two teams are not above 500, but the rest, I think,
dude,
are.
that's so crazy, man.
We have the second hardest remaining schedule.
Like,
could you believe that?
And then Chicago's under 500
so Chicago
too.
and Wizards.
Chicago, Portland, and then Orlando too. Yeah.
Oh, Orlando's not above 500?
No, they're like,
dude, they've been slipping too, and they're healthier than what they were. It's crazy. It's gonna be a very, very, very. You gotta tune in for every single game. I want to record after every game in March.
I'm all for it. Hey, I'm all for it.
Wait, I won't be here at the end of March.
That's fine. We'll have to do we'll have to figure out Zoom at some point and just do like a Zoom podcast.
I'm gonna be in Alaska at the end of March.
Hey, shout out Alaska.
Yeah, so I won't be able to record for a few days. But
speaking of which, if you also want to join on the fun ride with us, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Spotify, so that way you get your notifications on Spotify.
And follow at RT Clark 17, or is it 96?
96 on Instagram.
At RT Clark 96 on Instagram. Follow the man. Support this guy. He's got a lot of live music events in the month of March. I think you have 3 in a row, 15, 16, 17.
So I have a big St. Patrick's Day party. I'll be posting a link on that stuff too. So come on out, support, and like I said,
wear
support
some
live
Kings
music.
gear and go show up to the live event.
Support live music. That's like the number one thing too.
Support live music.
Support live music.
But also just support RT.
This
guy,
dude,
you
man.
got to see him play the drums. He's got vocals too. He plays all the percussion instruments. He's just a one trick pony. He could do it all. Is that the term?
One trick pony. Well,
does that mean that
a man with many hats?
He's just a Swiss Army knife.
Swiss Army knife.
He's a Swiss Army knife. Or a man with many hats. So go do that.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Kang Gang Pod. Hopefully, the month of March will bring
joy,
not just green. Some purple too.
Yes, sir.
We love you so much.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for watching.
Let's go.
Zach Lavine, Sacramento is officially here. Thank you so much, Zach.
Boom!